Hello. Back by popular demand, I'm gonna go through a few more family photos, tell you a story or two. Here's one I'm real proud of. I like this a lot. This was a good day. Uh, it's me and my grandmother. I'm I may have, some of y'all may have seen this before on some of the other stuff. I'm a little shaky. I was just outside. It is cold out there. It's about 5 a.m. by the way. Hey, I get up early. That's me and my grandmother. One of the things that she's tall. Trying to remember what year that is. 94, I believe. So I'm about 23. She's born 26, so she's no kid there. She's holding up pretty well, though, right? So she's got those heels on that are not maybe an inch and an eighth, inch and a quarter. She's pretty tall. Like she's 5'9" there. Like, I don't know if y'all know this, but people shrink over time. Like I'm almost 6'3" there. I'm not wearing any heels. I'm wearing, wearing wingtip shoes, and so she's not quite 70. She's 68, 69 years old there. Let's say I don't remember 94 or 95, maybe 95. I keep wanting to say 95, so she's almost 70 there. I just wish she was smiling. I'm styling and profiling. My custom suit, baby. Off the rack, I don't think so. It's gray and purple. It's purple. That's back when I could still stand up straight, strut. Those were the days, buddy. Got my ring on my finger. Here's my grandpap. Now this is from, I believe, about 78, 1979 maybe. It's when he's operating the steam plant. He's look at that suit, baby. Styling. He's got it going on. So here again, let's see. So he's 50. If that's 77, we'll say he's 52, 78, 53. So he's 52 to 54 years old, somewhere in there. Not doing all that terrible, but yeah, he's a little more wore down than still a bright smile on his face, and like that's his reserved smile. He had this laugh. He'd tell you, and he's bad as me about laughing at his own jokes. Like he'd tell a joke because he thought it was funny. He didn't care whether anybody else laughed. He had this ridiculous horse laugh that just proved that he did not care. He was in this for fun for himself. And he hoped y'all got the joke, but he got it, so that's what matters. He had this laugh. It was just honk, honk. It was like a cross between a goose honking and a mule braying. I'm really not doing it justice. But I know y'all have heard somebody that laughs like that. It just with total abandonment, and you can hear them. You can hear them cut loose, just like a rooster crowing. Like it cuts through the noise and the chaos. You know somebody is just laughing and just with all they got, and that's him, man. That's let me adjust that. That's Papa Neely right there. That's you know he's been there, done that. Has a T-shirt, and there's a lot of sadness in the world, but he's gonna laugh and he's gonna give it all he got when he does laugh. Oh, if you knew him, you loved him. I mean, you just could not love that guy. Oh, some of those stories never end. I mean, here again, I come by it honest. Story about Stillhouse Holler. Tell you that one day. Oh, hmm. So here's a picture of the old house up by Oak Ridge Highway. This has got to be like 1948, like right when they bought the property. Cleared some of it off some. I don't know if the house is built yet or not. This is looking across the street from our address. I say our. I never lived in that house, but I lived in a house further down up over the hill and down in off the road. That's looking across the street at old Thone Eyes. That was a gas station, and it was long defunct by the time I showed up there. I never knew it operated. Somebody rolled in one day and got some gas there. I'm like, huh, that thing's still in business. I was like 10 maybe. But yeah, I mean that's back in the day. So here's one of me. How cute was I? Oh, look at that. Look at those chubby arms. You cute and rosy cheeks. Where did it all go wrong? Look at that. See here. Now I can't see what I look like. All right. Yeah. Not May 1972. It says Christopher Nolan Neely, 14 months. It says on the back. Sorry, I'll remove some of the shine from the top of my skull there for y'all. Oh, here they are. Oh, yeah, this one's got a crinkle in the photograph. He reminds me a little bit of my buddy Josh, actually, just in this photograph here. That's my granddad, my grandmother. I mean, and that's not the best picture of the two of them by far. I mean, like I say, this has a wrinkle in it and a lot of the media within the photograph is faded. I don't know if this thing laid in the sun or what. But this is one of those photographs you can sit down, in front of a booth and get a bunch of postcards made of a photograph. Apparently, this is right after they got married. Or maybe this is the day they got married. I don't know. It's right then, 1947, like May. What was it? No, it was August. I believe they got married in August. Yeah. Here again, that's not a great photograph of him. Not horrible, but it's pretty good. Oh, here he is. He looks like he has trouble on his mind right here now. Maybe they both do. Oh, Lordy. Look at those smiles. Yep. Oh, I wish I could remember this lady's name. She was a real character, apparently. Like this is 1944 or so. This is back up in the hills. La Follette, Big Four Mountain area. This is right on the edge of that Jacksboro Mountain. You see a coal shed in the background. But yeah, that's my grandmother there. Tall drink of water. With proper nutrition growing up, she could have been 6 foot tall, I bet you. Oh, look at this little man, December 1957. Kodak paper. Look at the fin on the back of that car. Look at that. That is great. I'm not sure. I believe that's my dad, but it kind of looks like Uncle Ken. Look at the fender on that car. Look at the back. Look at that. Now that's a picture right there. Look at the composition of that with that diagonal shadow. That's the breezeway. The area between the garage and the garage hasn't been built yet on that house, the up by the highway at 7428 house, the Route 20 house before it had an address in the 50s. You can tell she don't want to be here. He likes old tractors. He got his shiny new suit on. You tell like I don't know what we're doing here. She's got that muscle in the middle of her forehead. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You'll see what I'm saying. She ain't having the best of times. There's that horizontal striped dress I was telling you about. See, he's still tall there. Like he hasn't been worn down yet. Like he's still like 6'1", 6'2" there. Like he's almost as tall as I am in that wedding picture. He got his suit on. He's styling and profiling, and she is not exactly happy. Ha 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 ha. Sorry, I'm shaking up. I laugh. Oh, you gotta laugh. Mama and Papa, back in the day. Aw, here's Kayla. age 2. It's my cousin Kayla, age 2, 1991 or so. How cute. My Aunt Shirley, it's the same old house as the Poach. That stone is known as permastone. It's a concrete cast stone, and yeah, people's hands on the hips. Uh, Cheryl, yeah, it's probably what 1960. Here's that look at my dad's face. Or is that? Oh no, that's not. Well, that's Ken right there. And hmm, yeah, I'm not sure if it's. I believe that's Brenda. I'm not certain. A nice aesthetic there, straight down from my finger. Is the power box on the side of the house. Hmm. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Brenda. Oh, here's me with another one of my bright ideas. This is 2000. On vacation in North Carolina, down at Nags Head, flying a kite off the deck of the rental house with a fishing rod. I mean, that works and all, but you should probably not be in a crowded residential area doing that. I'm probably about 260 pounds at that point in time, by the way, just so for the record. Oh man, one of the best dogs ever. It's me over Rogers Manor. Her eyes are shining, but this is about 99 or so, maybe 2000. This is right in this same era. This is me on. It's about 2000, maybe on into 2001. This is me and one of the best dogs it ever was, Inga, Roddy, Inga, Inga. Such a great dog. More of the same. When they delivered that love seat, so they had this love seat is like down filled. I mean, it is the real deal. Um, it had been part of a set, a very expensive set. Like normally that thing would have been a couple $1,000s on its own, and this little doggy man, she loved well, not that little, like 95 pounds. She's so precious, and she loved everybody. And the delivery guy showed up, and she's like, "Oh, how you doing? How you? Glad to see you." But we're sniffing her hands, and lean up against them. I love you. And she's smelling the love seat. They sit it down, take the plastic. They didn't actually take the plastic off. They set it down, and she's like, huh. She hops up on there, lays down, like, oh, this is nice. Oh, thanks, guys. She just kind of settles in, like, I'm I'm good with it. like like y'all can leave. Thank y'all for delivering this for me. like, yeah, yeah, my servants do good work. My fam takes care of me, baby. Oh man. Oh yeah. Here's me in the well-fed period. Oh, that's a great one. She's looking right at the camera there. That's where she's still very much a puppy. 1997. Like spring of '97. May, perhaps April, something like that. Oh, hey, Josh. Uh, there's the sheep. Joshua Buchanan. Probably taking somebody's money. I don't know. That's at one of those hippie commune reunions we had in Knoxville. I believe Corky's Barbecue. Good times. Ah, my buddy Bill showing his best side. There's Josh again. Oh, he's intense. It's on, man. I mean, we're a bunch of goofy guys and all, but when we start playing pool, man, it is on. I mean, it is bloody knuckles. Look out. And we don't really like play for money or anything. It's all for glory and prestige. Oh man, this is like 1995. This is my aunt and uncle's house, Ken and Jenna. And there's Ken's Nissan, 1986 and a half four-wheel drive beige Nissan pickup truck. I really wish I'd got that from him, even after it was worn out. But that David Tao, my other uncle, bought that new, and then after it was older, he sold it to Ken. Is the V6 four-wheel drive. Anyway, that's somewhere's around the day of his 40th birthday, somewhere in that range, 95, or I'm sorry, not, yeah, 1995, January. Here's both me and the dog and the cat asleep on the couch. This is funny from two angles. Here again, it's 90, 99 or so. The cat is Bubby. I had him for almost 19 years. Great cat. Loved me so much. He helped me through some really tough times when I'd have anxiety attacks after the stroke. But there we all are, all three of us asleep. Don't all look comfortable with my foot tucked up underneath my knee. All three of us right there. So she's got her head on my waist there. There's Bubby all curled up on the softest fur spot on the place. Here's the same scene from a different angle. Yep. obviously a little red in my beard there. It comes out pretty sharp on that picture. Oh man, here we are after a day of fishing, well, morning anyway, on the Dream Girl, Wanchese, North Carolina. These folks are still in business. Give them a shout out. That was a fantastic day, man. Out on the water, deep sea fishing off the Outer Banks, North Carolina, like 60 miles out on the border of the Gulf Stream, the Labrador Current. We caught these giant tuna. Well, not giant. I mean, we got the nice giant to this country boy's heart, 40 pounds. I mean, but we have somewhere, picture me holding up two of them. I think I caught four. Well, we limited out. We caught like four apiece, 38 to about 45 pounders. They were all in the same weight range. We also caught some Mahi Mahi, some dolphin. I'd hold this big bull dolphin that probably went 60 pounds. He knew what he was doing. We were in about 6 foot seas that were crossways to the side of the boat. The boat's doing this number. All of us were hooked up, and I'm standing. Well, like here's the boat. I'm standing like right here on what would be that would be the back port side of the boat, the rear, the stern. Like my knees touching the transom, and this thing's out here, and this boat's going. Like the seas are coming crossways, 6 foot waves. This boat's about what, 12 feet wide. It's a 57-foot sport fisher, and it's going. I mean, it's moving 6 feet. So you figure the height of a man. It's going up and down like this on the waves. I mean, it was something else. And I've got, these rods are about 6 feet long, and they're as thick as a closet rod at the base, right? And the reels are this big around. I mean, these are serious rigs. Like the reels are $1,000 back in 2000. Okay, the rods are $700-800, and they're the kind of thing you can hook into a 3,000-pound shark or a 1,500-pound marlin or whatever. Just go with it. And I've got this fish on, and I can see him, and he's trying to throw the hook, and he's coming up and out of the water, and they're really good at this, throwing these hooks. And his whole body, contorting. It's one of these things you see it in slow motion because your adrenaline's going pounding away like a freight train on your nervous system, and you're just as fast as you can go, because these things, they can swim at peak speeds of like 45 miles an hour. They cruise around at 30 miles an hour all day long. Like they occasionally slow down to 15 miles an hour. So I mean, you're just cranking this slack out. The line's doing this number because you're trying to just get as much line in as humanly possible. They know what's going on, more or less. They're swimming toward you, trying to get more slack in the line, and they're doing this number. Like I say, he's 5 feet long or so, 60 pounds, with a profile of a garbage can lid, and he's flopping and juking and jiving. His mouth's open, and he's at eye level with me. Like he's come out of the side of the wave. He's above my eye level at several points. I have him on for all of a minute, and he spits the hook out at my eye level. Like he goes, Pooh, like, I got you, brother. And the line goes slack. I mean, it's just like somebody slaps you across the face. It's such a letdown because you have this huge adrenaline spike. I mean, it's like you're playing tug of war with a cheetah. I mean, it's just on. You can't breathe. You can't. And here again, the boat's going, and the waves are going like this, and the wave action and the boat action aren't necessarily doing the same rhythmic. It's the same rhythm, but the timing's different. Because like boat, the boat responds to the wave, but the boat has its own center of mass and momentum changes in response to the flotation forces and the side-on forces of the wave. And that's when like wind against tide can get you in big trouble in a boat, any boat, any ship, anything. The sea is very powerful, and so you're trying to maintain your own horizon. And I had like double doses of Dramamine. I had two of the patches that go on, and I'd taken Dramamine pills. And I'm not that bad for getting seasick. But all that goes out the window. We had one dude that was throwing up over the side. But once you hook up a fish, that adrenaline goes. And you know that feeling like you go over a hill and your stomach goes up in your throat? Well, that adrenaline goes, and you can be literally throwing up right then. And it's fish on, and you're like this, and you grab a hold of that rod, and I mean, it's on. It's an amazing experience. Millionaire fishing, man. Unbelievable. That was May of 2000. Fantastic day. About 75 degrees by 10 o'clock in the morning, but it didn't get too hot. Like it got to 90 by the time we got back in at say 2. Oh, we left it. We left the dock at 6. We got to the dock at 5:15 or so. Good times, man. Good times. The first one I hooked up, well, that was that uh, first run of Mahi Mahi. I hooked up twice, and I just blew it, man. I was just all out of sorts. I mean, I was so nervous, and I yanked on the rod, and the captain's up on the flying bridge, which, like, he's here. Old man Billy Baum, like, he's 70 years old up here. And you ever heard the phrase cussing like a sailor? Well, he was cussing at me. He's like, don't yank on that rod. That's how you break those damn rods. They're worth more than your whole life. I mean, he's just giving me the business. The mate is down on the deck saying, just reel, just reel, just reel. And I'm trying. I'm reeling it in as fast as I can, man. And I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, man. No clue what I'm doing. I thought I knew I was a fisherman. I did not. Yeah, there's the dream girl, Billy Baum. I got to talk with Billy Baum. He's pretty cool and all. He's just like, you're gonna ruin the day. Like, they're a little superstitious. You got to hook up the first fish, catch the first fish, and I was ruining that chance. Which they're not wrong, man. You got to be there and be on business, be on task. They shouldn't have handed me the rod or let me grab the rod. I'm like, oh, you want me to grab that? Like, fish on, game on, it's on. So, you know, your mileage may vary, but I got excited. I mean, costs $600 for a day of fishing. I mean, we're talking jack, brother. I mean, this is back in the day when I actually had a half shot at making some money, and I mean, I'd saved up. This was all I had. I mean, this was the goal of life, was to be able to someday get out here and afford to do this fishing. So I was excited. Well, that's when I had back in the day. I had my foray rather into the initial online business bubble. 1999, I think I started. I was doing weekly or monthly, rather, articles for the online magazine alloutdoors.com, which I don't even know if they still exist. Fortunately, I got paid. A lot of people were owed money; they went under. But yeah, I intended to write a story about this in May of 2000, and some things got kind of hinky about that time with getting paid, so I never published it. I should dig that up somewhere. It's a good story. Oh, and it's another one of those. Like we're heading out to fishing, and for half the crew, I mean half the. So normally it's 6 people. We had five, so we had to pay a little extra on the charter because it's expensive. I mean, diesel fuel is expensive to run those boats. You got basically two jet aircraft engines you're feeding kerosene fuel to run those things out there. Miles and miles. It's 57 feet long. It's like flying a Lear jet. I mean, it's expensive. And these guys, I mean, it's a $500,000 boat. Just give you an idea. I mean, 350,000 for those 55 or so. This is a 57 footer. 57-foot sport fisher back in 2000, and this was almost a brand new boat. Like it was a 1999. He got at the end of the previous season. Got a deal on it, so he probably paid a little over 400,000 for that boat. I mean, it was nice. He had a lot of stuff worked out because he was an old salt at this. He's still going. He's got to be. So he was like 72 at the time. This 70, so he's 90, 89 or 90 years old. Old Billy Baum is still at it. He still has the business. He didn't go out on the sea anymore, but he's still kicking. This tough old salt, man. I mean, I would not have taken 1 out of 3 throws with him on a wrestling match back in 2000, and I was still uninjured. This raw bone old man, dude. He could throw a bait net, like a 30-foot bait net, perfect pancake every time. And to do that, you're using every muscle from like your hamstring to the SCM, sternocleidomastoid, like to a net that heavy, you have to whip that out there. You have to create like it's draped over this arm. It weighs about 80 pounds. You have to torque your body up and like this. And he can throw a perfect pancake every time. That's where the net comes out into a perfect circle and just lands perfectly flat on the water. So they've got all these lead weights or tungsten weights. Actually, for salt water is one of the best because it doesn't oxidize as quick, lasts as longer, and it's better for the environment. So, and they're 1 ounce is the minimum, and there's like one every foot around the circumference. So there's like 90 of them. So do the math on that weight, and all the way around this net. And then you've got the nylon and polyethylene roping and netting itself. It's not monofilament. It's like bank line, like nylon bank line, like number 9 or a lighter, still 60-pound test, 90-pound test on some of it. And he, at 70 years old, he could whip this thing out there. It makes this sound going through the air like as it opens up, and then it's silent right before it hits the water. And then, see, it drops down, and if you know what you're doing, you've seen a school of bait fish that you're trying to catch a big chunk of, and they've come up near the surface. When that thing hits, they all try to dive down. So as soon as you throw it, what the ones that really know what they're doing, they don't let it settle down to the bottom. They try to close the seine up with a drawstring. As soon as it starts hitting the water, Now it drops fast. I mean, that's how it's designed. But still, those bait fish are trying to eject straight out of the bottom. They figure out this is bad, you know. Basically, there's this giant mouth of beast, it looks like to them, coming down to swallow them up, which is, about what you're doing. So here's this old man. He's up on the flying bridge. We're on the very tip top sometimes of the boat throwing this net. He's 25 feet in the air. And when he tosses that net, I mean the boat moves. He's got, I don't know, 80 feet of line or so. Here again, coiled up like this is all by hand. It's not launched from a machine. This is not computerized, and this person has these skills, and he, throws this thing out there, uncoils it, perfect shot, all around the bait ball, and he's hauling in that line just as soon as it hits the water. So, I mean, explosive energy, and then this cardio effect. I mean, just as fast as you can go. And you got to close that line. See, so it's going around the circumference of a circle, right? And you're pulling in a straight line to close a circle. So there's a decrease in your effective force right away, right? Just in that factor, your pulling is not being multiplied, it's being divided. So you're going at a ratio pull for every, foot here you're pulling. You're not closing the net by a foot, it's divided by pi, right? So 1 point divided by 3.1415, etc. So that's a reduction. Then you've got the drag of the water. Salt water is like 840 times denser than air. You know how hard pulling something through water is. So you're yanking on it. I mean, so this is weightlifting, cardio, and I mean, you're just. And you see him up there, like, he'll be in his bare feet, nothing but a pair of shorts. The water's flying off that line. You don't stop to comb your hair to look good for the camera. I mean, it's on. And this is business. If you don't get to bait, you ain't in business. So you got to make the payment on that $500,000 boat you're standing on. He's cranking it. 70 years old. See that guy do that. Unbelievable. I'm like standing on the beach over here fishing one day. I didn't know who he was. He's over here in this little cove between some sandbars. I guess found some bait. And I didn't know it was. Just happenstance. And a few days later, I wound up going fishing with this guy. Like, man, look at that old man. He's nothing but tan skin and muscle. So he probably threw that net out 35, 40 feet horizontal distance from the boat. And then if you're successful, which you hope you are with every throw, because that's a lot of work just to throw the net, let alone retrieve it. So then you yank the net around this bait ball, and now you got 100 pounds of fish plus the water you're dragging the thing through. That's a lot of doing. So you get it closed, and then you feel the resistance of this wad of bait, and they're flopping around in there. They don't like what's happening, to say the least. And then you can have other mitigating factors, like a predator that sees this big ball of food may decide to come up and latch onto the net. That happens. Every now and then you'll be pulling up a 20-pound barracuda in addition to the bait you were trying to catch. They see this flash when the net hit the water, like, hey, what's that? Like, they're already looking around that bait ball, figuring out what to do. Then they say that flash and it's game on. So every now and then you pull this thing up and you've got a barracuda with his teeth hanging into the outside of the net, or it had already gone into the bait ball and it's in your net. So you bring this thing up on deck or up on, like you're in a crow's nest, and you swing it over on the deck, and you got your first mate down there. And now the first mate's job is to empty this out, put it into your bait box. But if they see there's something in there other than bait, so then they empty it out on the deck, and you got a barracuda laying at your feet. You see him dancing around like there's electric eels down there. He's standing up on one of the boxes. He's got a gaff hook, and he's trying to push this thing out, you know, out from in the middle of the bait. Billy's yelling at him, "What are you doing, you crazy dumb bitch? You're going to kill the bait." He doesn't care that there's a barracuda about to bite his mate's foot off. Don't kill the bait. That's money. So I'm over here. I'm 100 yards away, but you can clearly hear what they're saying and hear the commotion going on because voices travel over, this flat, calm ocean water. I mean, the voices echo perfectly, resonate over that water. You hear, "You stupid! What the? Yeah." He's giving him the business. Meanwhile, the mate, the first mate, the only mate on the boat, they're kind of partners in the business. The mate gets a chunk of every cruise, of every charter. He gets a set fee that's usually not much. The chunk of the profits maybe $50, maybe. Often it's more like 20. He actually lives on tips. So if you go on one of these things, tip him. All right. I'm a garbage human being. I didn't tip nearly enough. I don't remember what it was, but not enough. If you're paying $500, give him $100, guaranteed minimum. Give him $100 if you don't have a fantastic day. If you have a good day, give him $300. I mean, you're spending $1,000 this day. If you catch fish, you're paid to have them cleaned. Don't think, "Oh, I can clean my own fish." All right, just pay them to clean them. All right, you've been out there fishing, you're tired. I mean, unless you're really, really a professional. I mean, really, like you make a living doing this. All right, okay. Otherwise, you're pay these guys. These ladies and gentlemen work real hard. They get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to catch bait. Sometimes they've not been to sleep because they had to catch bait through most of the night just to have a chance at having a business tomorrow. I mean, these people hustle. You're like, "Man, it's awful having to get up at 3:30 in the morning to go fishing." Like, man, you're just showing up and going fishing. They've been working hard for 2 hours before you showed up. Pay them, okay? You're like, "Man, it's a lot of money." Like, your money that you're giving them to go on this cruise is covering the cost of the fuel. Like, they ain't made any money yet, Like, it's the cost of the fuel and the cost to, pay the mate a paltry, half minimum wage for what the mate's done already before you showed up. And the boss man up top that's running the boat, like, he's made a half a payment on the day on the mortgage on this boat. I mean, they're not making any money. Because, I mean, on the good days, they can go out and fish. When it's blowing a storm gale up, 12-foot seas, you're not going to make any money. I mean, you can go and fish like that. We've done it for hundreds of years. But you're not going to have, landlubber paying clients that, are going to throw down $1,000 to go out there and fish in 12-foot seas. It ain't happening. I mean, you can go out there and catch fish in that. I mean, you can do it. You don't want to do it. You got to be hardcore. And there just aren't that many hardcore people out there. A lot of people think they're hardcore. You get out there on that ocean, that is scary. When you lose sight of land, you get out there and realize that I am on a liquid desert and nothing cares if I live, if I survive the day. You realize how important these guys are that you paid money because they know what's up. You may think but I mean, they do this every day. and love it, live for it. They're out here having fun, and you're like, I can't see land. They're like, yeah, this is where it gets good. And you're like, oh no, I don't know. I don't know about this, fellers. And the boat starts doing that number. The horizons, the waves are doing this, the boat's doing that. And they're like, reel, reel, put some speed into it. You're like, oh god, this is all I got. Short pump, short pump, short pump, fast, fast, fast. Chaos ensues, and it's amazingly awesome. Pay those fellas, give them everything you got, you know. And next time you see them, buy them a beer. I mean, they're earning it. Well, this is not an easy life. They don't have, health care insurance, and oh no, they're just living on a hope and a prayer, and hope that they hit it big enough that they can afford something someday, you know. And you're gonna have the time of your life. I mean, a bad day on the water is still pretty good, assuming you make it back, you know. Hell, Billy Baum, man, tough, awesome dude. I interviewed him over the phone like 2 days later. It was raining, blowing sideways, awful. I was lucky. We got it was the end of April 2000. There were storms before then and storms after. So there was like a 2.5 day window where the Oregon Inlet fleet was able to go out and do some deep sea fishing and with clients. And I was just lucky because like the 10 days we were there were 2 days that were decently fishable. I mean, out 50 miles to 75 miles offshore, out in the Gulf Stream, and it's so awesome out there. You know what I'm passionate about? That's one of the things. Um, the Gulf Stream water is warm, and you have these green algae that bloom all in the water column. Uh, they're part of the phytoplankton, part of the ecosystem of the. Oh, it's just amazing of the Gulf Stream. So you have this warm water that's, I don't know, what is it, 68 degrees by the time it's at. It's nice. It's pleasant. At depth, it's like 68 degrees. I think it's like 78 or 80 degrees. Uh, right close to the surface, like right at the surface, it's a little cooler because of evaporation. But a foot down, it's almost 80-degree water, and then you tend to fish the line between the edge of the Gulf Stream heading north and the Labrador Current, the cold water heading back south from the Arctic. That Labrador Current is cold, and that water is ultramarine blue, like this color right here, like, or that somewhere in there. It's dark blue, like this almost black color right there. Like it is blue. It's not sky blue. It's midnight blue. It's almost black in places. And you fish along this line, look for. I mean, they have waypoints, GPS markers, but you're looking for birds. You're looking for trash, floating debris along the line, whether it's seaweed or just flotsam. And the Mahi Mahi, the dolphin fish, like to gather around flotsam on the surface. That's their thing. Like there can just be a 2x4 floating there, and there'll be half a dozen mahi hanging out under it. So sometimes you're in the blue water, and sometimes you're in the green water when you're fishing, depending on what angle you're coming in. A lot of times you're trolling through, and you'll go in and out of the green and the blue. What's really cool is when you go from the green water into the blue water, there's a difference in air temperature too. Like the blue water's, I don't know, 45, 50 degrees. I mean, it's cold. And then there's that interaction. There's a turbulent interaction between the two where they touch. I mean, it's pretty awesome. I mean, we're talking about the living seas are right in front of you. So if you're a little bit of a biologist mind like me, this is so cool. I'm like leaning over the deck, the deck. I'm not leaning over because I'm throwing up. I'm like looking down in the water, like, man, this is awesome. He's like, yeah. The mate and I are kind of geeking out on it about just how cool all this is. And I'm like, man, this is awesome. Like you can see there's a in the shadow of the boat, you can see all kinds of neat stuff happening. I have polarized glasses on. I'm looking down in the water, and you can see little bitty bait fish and all sorts of neat stuff going on. And you can see some cloudiness where some of the nutrients in the cold water have been stirred up from the bottom, and uh, like mineral type fogs will be in the water column. It's neat, just neat, and you get to experience that. I mean, that's part of the journey for your money. If you have a heads up, you're looking, you see this vast green of the of this ocean when it's nice and calm. Uh, that Gulf Stream, it almost looks like a manicured mowed lawn. Like the ocean is more or less flat. It's got just slight swells on it, and it's green. If you get on the right section of the Gulf Stream, it looks like this neatly manicured golf course kind of lawn. I mean, it's like the green on to the horizon. It is so cool. It's a good day. Hope you all have a good day. I'm going to leave it at that. We're at almost an hour. To the Billy Bombs of the world that can throw that net. Love you guys for your dedication, your hard work. One Cheese, North Carolina. Now there is a place to be right there. No zoning laws. They're just holding on in the sand by their fingernails, carving an existence out in the world. They're doing it, living the dream. All right, brothers and sisters, have a little peace in life, and be good to one another. All right.